Hi, my name is Neil Pedersen. I'm a 25-plus year attorney, and I'm an adjunct professor at a local law school that teaches law practice management and technology. And here I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes talking to you about time management for the busy attorney. Benjamin Franklin coined the phrase that time lost is never found again, and that is no more important to any profession than a lawyer, because we as lawyers essentially sell only our time. Clients come to us for our experience and our knowledge and a certain skill set, but the only way we sell those things is by giving of our time. And there's only so much time in a day that we can give. And so I plan to spend the next 10 minutes giving you some tips about how you might be able to capture some of that time and use your time more productively so that you can either become more profitable as a lawyer or spend more time with your family or friends or doing other things you'd like to do with your life. So the first thing we have to do is essentially change our mindset. You have to realize that time is your most valuable asset. Things can be lost or stolen, money can be spent and re-earned, but time is lost as soon as you spend it. In fact, it is a finite commodity that vanishes the moment it passes. And so unless you create a mindset that allows you to understand that as you are wasting time, you are wasting a valuable asset you will never get back again. You won't be adjusting your practice. And so what I'd like to do is help give you some suggestions through this the next 9 minutes or so about how you can capture more time and prevent the waste of your time. Now, one of the things you need to consider is the actual value of your time. As a professional, if you're making something like $300 an hour, a simple 1/2 hour of lost time in a day can cost you $39,000 in a year. 1 hour wasted in a day will cost you almost $80,000 worth of your valuable time. And so it's important that you create a mindset that time is valuable. It is your most valuable asset. Now the thing is that while we can do a lot of things to try to manage our day and make our day more efficient, the one thing that really takes away time from our day is interruptions. And in fact, a recent study of office workers has indicated that the average office worker gets 1 interruption every 8 minutes, or roughly 7 per hour. That means that almost half of the day is taken up in dealing with interruptions. Now, it becomes more important when you realize that those same office workers said that only 20% of those interruptions they would have characterized as critical or important to the things they were doing that particular day, which means 80% of the day, or almost 3 hours of each day, are eaten up in dealing with interruptions that are not critical or important to the things that you wanted to achieve that day. It becomes even more important when you realize that the Nielsen people that do the television surveys, they came up with a statistic that says that an information worker normally has a 10 to 15 interruption to their day for every interruption they receive during their work day. And that makes sense because as lawyers, we have what I call a bathtub mentality. We fill our head with a lot of things and we work on a particular thing, but as soon as we are distracted, we have to drain all that out of the bathtub and bring other information into our mind. And then when it's time to go back to our work, we have to fill our minds again with all of that. Where were we at that particular point in time? And so what you want to do to make the best of your time is to try to avoid interruptions. And so now let's talk about some specific things we can do to both manage your day and avoid those interruptions. So first, it seems simple, but you need to plan your day by making a to-do list. I call it a day plan. And you know, when I need to pay my bills at the end of the month, I look at how much money is in the bank and I decide what bills have to be paid and how much money. But rarely do people actually do that with their most valuable asset, their time. But if you look at the day before you start the day, I usually do it the night before, and say, what do I need to get done? What is my day plan for my most valuable asset? And I write down a to-do list that actually looks like a schedule of events. Only then are you actually capturing your day and allowing you to control your most valuable asset as opposed to just allowing the day to capture you. So, put everything on the list. Prioritize the items on that list. See if it's even possible to get done everything you would like to get done, and if not, then plan how you're going to put other things off into a different day. And then be sure to allocate time to your predictable interruptions, and I'll talk about a couple of those as we go on. So, let's move on to a second tip, which is to keep your work area clean and organized. You know, a disorganized or messy work desk can cause the average worker up to an hour and a half a day looking for things on their desk or around their desk that they need to do their job. Keep only essential papers on your desk. Arrange them so they can be grabbed without delay. I normally, on my desk, leave only the papers I'm going to use for that day, and I put great big Post-it notes with the name of the client or the matter on it so that when the phone call comes or a meeting occurs, I can grab that document off my desk immediately without delay. Third, learn how to control meetings. Now, as an attorney, meetings are just a part of our normal practice. But there are ways that you can prevent meetings from draining away your most valuable asset. Number one, only go to good meetings. Not all meetings that people suggest are necessarily meetings that will advance your particular matter or help your client. In fact, there are many times when a telephone conference or even a video conference these days will be equally effective for you, and you can save the time of driving to and from locations, waiting for other people to arrive, and the like. One great way to prevent meetings from draining away too much of your valuable asset is to actually define an end time for the meeting. If you're running the meeting, you start the meeting by saying, okay, we're going to be here and my plan is to end this meeting at 3 o'clock. And then you manage the meeting to that end time. But even if you're not running the meeting, you can show up to the meeting and announce to the group, I'm only available until 3 o'clock. And then you can manage the meeting even though you're not running it, from the point of view that you say to people, you know, I really need to leave at 3, so if we can get on to the important parts of this meeting, you can still control your most valuable asset even though you're not in control of the meeting. Don't allow your phone to be a productivity drain. And here's the problem. A lot of people pick up their phone when the phone rings and talk to whoever calls, which immediately cedes the right to your most valuable asset to whoever has your phone who has your phone number and calls you. And it might be the Police Benevolent Association asking for a donation, or a vendor, or a potential client, and all of those different people may be important, but not necessarily for what you are doing at the moment. What I say you need to do is to define particular periods of time during the day to return phone calls. Don't take the phone call immediately when it's received. Have it go into voicemail. If you have staff, ask your staff to ask the person to leave a detailed message on voicemail, and then return phone calls at designated periods of time during the day. I have at least 2, one in the late morning and one in the late afternoon, so that my clients never go more than perhaps 2.5 to 3 hours without a return phone call. But that way, you're controlling your most valuable asset as opposed to allowing other people to control that most valuable asset. Don't allow email and other electronic communications to control you. And here's the problem we all have. You're sitting at your desk and you're working diligently on something, and there's that tone from your computer that says an email has arrived. And all of us, like Pavlov's dog, turn to the computer and look to see what that email is about. No matter how important that email is, we've allowed it to become a distraction. So here's a great tip. Turn that tone off. Assign certain parts of the day, just like with phone calls, to review and respond to emails. Do it at least twice a day so you can still be responsive. But don't allow that noise, and don't allow the constant receipt of emails during the day to steal away your most valuable asset. Ultimately, it comes down to creating this mindset. Everything you do in the practice of law needs to be with the idea that time is money, and if I can put certain practices and procedures in place that will allow me to prevent wasting some of that time, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more time, valuable time, to either do more work and therefore make more money, spend more time with your family and friends, which will keep you happy and healthy, or maybe take that needed nap. Thank you very much.